Right. So discussing uncommon villages. There's always progress in the villages, and it's fun to share what's going on at the moment. I'm not in either of them or any of them, and yeah, looking forward to updates, hearing from you guys what you're experiencing. Casper's over there in Montenegro, and Lyndon's been going back and forward from Vanuatu. Manish is working away on his vision there in India. Luke's just arriving there in Bali, so we have a good crew here. And I was just actually down in Mexico as well, so it's probably a good one to discuss on this call. We can maybe start with that. The place down in Bacalar, it's near the border of Mexico and Belize. So the main tourist area of Mexico, the biggest tourist area now, is Cancun, Tulum, Playa del Carmen. If you keep going down the coast another couple of hours, then you arrive to Bacalar. So it's a kind of a sleepy beach town. There's lots of land around there. What's interesting is they're putting a high-speed train in that goes right through Bacalar, and it goes from Cancun, Playa del Carmen. So effectively, it's becoming highly connected where it has been really isolated land. So Jorge, who's part of ATG for Coaches and also Uncommon Success, his family have massive area of land down there, and they also have a house and like a small, like Jorge has a small parcel of land right near the train station as well. So I went to visit all three of those plots of land. And so, yeah, it's pretty exciting. So the first project is to upgrade the family house to turn it into an uncommon house. So you can have a place to train, a place to stay, podcast, be there with 5, 6 other guys, and have all your food looked after and such, and just train hard, focus, and build business. It's an opportunity for people from the States, especially, to have much lower cost of living and higher quality of life, just really close to home. Obviously, that's the idea with all the villages. And the same opportunity is there for Montenegro and Vanuatu and India. But being proximity is valuable as well. So the more we can have at least something in each continent is really valuable. Also spoke in Dominican Republic to JC Simo. JC Simo has been really outspoken for health in Dominican Republic. He's really well known there. He's got like a couple 100,000 followers, and it's predominantly people in Dominican Republic that are really taking in his message. And he has a great message around health and very holistic approach to health. He has 40 acres not too far from the city, and he's interested in us having a place there on his land as well. So that'll have a gym and that'll have sheep and whatnot as well. So that was a really good connection to make. And yeah, it's becoming a reality from something that 12 months ago seemed like a batshit crazy idea to a lot of people. You know, we're now getting set up that, yeah, 12 months from now, like it's going to be possible to go between 10 plus locations around the world and go and stay and train and be around others. So we're lacking a bit still in the numbers of people involved. Like that's probably the biggest limitation for this thing really taking off. But we continue to work on the marketing, work on the quality of the product, and yeah, it's going well. We're getting further. So yeah, that's kind of update on this side. I don't know if anyone's got any questions around the Mexico Dominican side of things. Dominican's great for beef. Yeah, they're sort of known for their cattle, and it's really not too long ago that they were living mostly on the land, so it's good for goats as well, and chickens, everything. Down in Belize, the area there in Bacalar, it's not great cattle country, but there are cattle there. There's heaps of land, perfect for goats and everything. And yeah, and it's really stunning as far as like it's like a bit of a quieter tourist option. It's got a bit of Byron Bay sort of feel to it, like it's much more chill than the other places. But yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions or observations. Anyone been to that part of the world? Cool. All right. So yeah, we can maybe jump to talking a little bit about what's going on in Vanuatu and share a bit of the progress and updates on that side.
I'll jump in there, and then super keen to hear through Luke's eyes as well. My audio coming through okay there, Keegan? Perfect. So it was actually 12 months ago this month that we hand drew the first plans. So to your point, Keegan, around a lot can happen in 12 months. We've gone from hand drawing with a set of pencils to the first 5 structures being ready to fit out. So while we've lost a little bit of time, we're slightly behind where I thought we'd be at this point. We had a couple of tropical storms blow through. But on the whole, we've got a pretty amazing team there now, which that's one of the challenges going into to somewhere like Vanuatu, where there's not a massive supply of skilled labour. So that team is almost working not autonomously. Obviously, Tom is still on the ground, but the skill difference in now to say 7-8 months ago is huge. Luke probably saw some of that as well while he was there. Just the guys are so hungry to learn and implement what they learn very quickly. So we're the slab for the 5th of the first 5 2-bedroom bungalows went on a concrete slab. James and his team will be framing that. Started cutting out the frame. So by the end of this month, all 5 2-bedroom bungalows will be ready for to begin the inside. So the wiring, the plumbing, and sheeting, and away we go. At the same time, while that's happening, we've got a team that is about to start on the traditional bungalows we're building. So they call them a Natangora house in Vanuatu. So they're traditionally what you would maybe picture when you think of Pacific Island or a tropical island housing. The palm leaf roof, bamboo walls. So we've got the first 3 of those under construction, and now that the concrete slabs are finished on the Western style bungalows, that team will hop over and crack on with those bungalows. So that's kind of giving you the more traditional experience. If you want to come and sleep in a hammock in one of these Natangora houses right by the water, it's a pretty special spot, and going to be quite a unique experience. Much more traditional style living there. While that's been happening, we've had a crew of guys, not a heap, but they've been plugging away on the farming side, preparing. We've cleared the area for where the kind of farm and fruit vegetable garden will go. We've got a sporting field, and then surrounding that, which I'll send you guys a video. We'll get that video out to the network here post this call of what that's going to look like. Thanks to some of Luke's epic handiwork behind the camera and behind the laptop editing. Yeah, the farming side is really starting to come online now. So a little slower than we expected, but it's rolling with the punches. If anything, Vanuatu's taught us a lesson that patience is indeed a superpower, and everything can be done, but it's just a few more logistics to think through when you're on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So yeah, I'll zip it there, and if anyone has any questions or thoughts, otherwise, Luke, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, man. It's funny what you say, actually, because Tommy asked me, he was like, what is one of the biggest sort of takeaways? And I was like, learning to have patience, and learning sort of things operate at, when you're living in that environment where it is actually so, you're in nature, it's like, I've come back to Bali, and this was like coming back to civilization, so it was awesome to be so close to nature like that. But I think one thing that you almost have to learn is that, patience, island time is definitely a thing. But yeah, man, is awesome. Crazy experience. And I guess just to give you guys some context, I think the best way I can explain sort of what happened is just to take you guys through some footage. So I have a little bit of stuff to show you on this call. I hope it holds up with quality and everything, but we'll see. But I think it was over a year ago now, like where I was in Portugal, and I had my first chat with. Is everyone there, or have I dipped out? Okay, cool. My screen went full screen for this. Ooh. Okay, maybe that's what happens when I talk.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Real good.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so we had our first chat in Portugal. I think it was just over a year ago, and you showed me like the map, the schematics, and everything. I was like, wow, like this is pretty nuts. And it was just trying to imagine what it would be like actually going there. It's like completely on the other side of the world, from where I was. But we sort of just said, look, I'm going to try and make it there at sometime next year, and all of the stars have aligned, for me to have spent a month in Vanuatu, which has been incredibly life-changing experience. And yeah, just incredibly grateful that this the whole villages are starting to get some momentum now. Obviously I've on the way to Vanuatu, I stopped off at Montenegro for a bit, spent some time there with Keegan and Lubo. I can see Casper's there, and then obviously heading down to Bali, where I've now been up with Nico, and just getting ready to spend a month there in the time chamber. And then obviously being able to spend a month in between at Vanuatu. So it's been epic to sort of have this breadth of experience of trying out the different villages. But I think one underlying thread is just the time spent with like-minded, uncommon people. And the way it was set up in Vanuatu is I was living with Tommy Rains. I'm sure some of you guys have met him, and then another guy called James, who was doing a building apprentice there. He was working there on the building site, and he actually, he hadn't heard of Uncom or anything before. And it was so funny when I arrived. He was like talking about when Keegan was there and some of the crazy shit like Keegan made him do. Like breathing and all of this, and introduced him to this new sort of life and this new sort of way of looking at things. And it was quite interesting to see how he was sort of changing throughout the whole month and the whole period. But, it was incredibly valuable just spending that time and living, with the guys. I had, my editing work to do. Like I wasn't spending time on the building site. So I would pretty much wake up, I would jump in the ice bath, or go for a swim in the sea. I'd like, sort of have my morning. The guys would go off to the building site. Then I would have my coffee. I would work throughout the day in the building. I would train. I would have a squat rack right next to me, which was pretty insane. And yeah, just breaks by jumping into the sea. And like what I said to Lyndon was the most valuable thing about this, coming from Bali, where I'm hopping from co-working space to coffee shop to gym, and you spend so much of your time traveling around. And I think the most valuable thing that I found is living in these villages is everything you have is in one sort of ecosystem. You're socializing with the guys, you're training, your food, it's all taken care of. And that just allowed me to focus on my business. It allowed me to focus on my training, and that was incredibly valuable. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about going and visiting these villages, personally. But I think before I just talk too much, like what I'll do is share my screen and just show you guys some of the footage, just a few highlights of some of the stuff we got. I actually had about 14 hours of footage, so I just had to snip a few highlights. So let's see if I can share my screen. Hopefully this will be good quality. Let's see. Okay, system preferences, give me a sec.
That wasn't meant to happen, I don't think.
Yeah. He's trying to update some preferences there, but it looks to be able to share his screen.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll jump back in.
So I had to quit Chrome to basically present, but here we go. Try again. Okay, can you guys see this? Can you guys see my screen?
No.
All right. Here we go. Can you guys see? Cool. Thumbs up. Great. So I can't see you guys, so just like shout if we start freezing. But basically, this is the first thing I shot, and this is Tommy arriving like 007 on his boat to come fetch me. What is the quality like, guys? Is it good enough? We'll pass. All right. So yeah, this is basically where I arrived in Santo. So Santo is the biggest island of Vanuatu, and you basically fly into this tiny little airport nearby, and this awesome guy called Sam basically comes and fetches you. They call him the Uncom driver, and when Tommy gave him that name, like he was incredibly happy, apparently. But you basically drive the boat over. It's like a 5-10 minute drive, and then you're literally at the Uncom village. So this is the first stuff I saw when we sort of cruised in. Was, it has this beautiful bit of shallow water where you cruise in. It's all undercovered by trees, and you have these awesome, basically the shells of the cabins here, which you can see. It has these awesome trees which hang over. There was one day where I was like just fed up from editing all the time. I just came and like just chilled here, while the guys were building. I'm not sure they were too impressed by me just paddling around in the water when they were building, but my expertise lies on behind the camera. But yeah, here's the building site. So you can see it's like right on the water. And this is where the football pitch is basically being prepared. And you can see the guys are, okay, we're going a bit quick here. The guys are basically preparing everything. Here's one of the bungalows. You can see like all of the roofs have been put on now, and the guys are making like pretty epic progress. This is Top G, the dog, who is so annoying but cute at the same time, because anytime anyone rocks up, he just barks like crazy. This is the boat that you basically park up. So you can see that it's just like pristine waters. This is another spot, I think, called The Point, where we went swimming, snorkeling at, which was pretty cool. What I'm going to show you is probably the biggest highlight of the event, was where we went hunting. So basically the first weekend I got there, we went on a little journey to basically start recruiting all of the locals up on the villages. So they all live in like these local traditional village areas. So we went up with the crew, basically got some supplies. We got some fruit, grapefruit, bananas, everything like that, just preparing to go into the bush because we were going to do a night hunt. And this is essentially like what the guys go out is on Auri Island. They basically have an abundance of pigs, wild pigs and cows that the locals essentially hunt. But the thing is, like these cows and these pigs are so wild that they like often will just kill the dogs if you like screw it up. So anyway, we went and we started collecting everyone, and you can see Tommy here playing with the little pups just while we were checking out the villages. So you can see they all have these crazy dogs, which are like semi-wild dogs, but they're just like beasts at hunting pigs, essentially. It's quite cool. Got this little boy to do some pull-ups, Max on. And you can see how awesome the view is. Like this is up the hill on one of the local villages. And it's like, pretty expansive. But these guys live properly in the bush, and like I've never really experienced anything like it. And coming from a city, like walking around barefoot with machetes and eating fruit like right off the trees was genuinely a life-changing experience for me. Like I can honestly say I felt like such a badass walking barefoot with a machete in my hand, even though I didn't use it. So here's some of the locals, super friendly people. That's old fella Jerry is what they call him. I don't know what that says, but yeah. This is young Jerry. So he basically was just getting us some bananas. So we're essentially going from village to village, just making sure we had like enough stuff. This is actually Lena on the left here. She it was quite funny. The boys laughed at me because I spent so much time in the house. I actually became better friends with Lena and Rose, who regularly cleaned the house, than I was with the boys, which is quite funny. But here's some kava that they prepared. Okay. And this, so once we collected all the boys, we basically got on the back of a van with our hunting dogs of the truck, and we just started driving out into the bush. And we had to fetch like one of these dogs, and you can see they're just savages, man. They just fight each other. They all have battle scars on them. And like, this is like, it's just like, they're not lap dogs. Let's just put it that way. They're not the type of dogs you're going to sit on the sofa with and cuddle. But they can kill pigs. So they're absolutely insane. Like, you know, and they just listen to the boys' calls. Like anytime anyone whistles, like they'll run, they'll do anything. So it was pretty insane. So, you know, the guys were just getting some coconuts off the trees, which is so abundant everywhere. Like there's just fruit like on every tree you can imagine. Like, you know, this is a coconut, like almost like tastes like a dessert. Like when the coconuts fall and they actually get old, they ferment inside, and they actually cut this out, and it's like a dessert. I can't actually remember what it's called. But yeah, so we started trekking out a bit deeper into the bush. At this point, you know, the dogs were kind of running ahead of us, and at this point, we're like in sort of wild pig and cow territory. So, you know, at any stage, like a pig, I guess, could jump out. But basically what happened was, before I show you this, and this is pretty graphic, I'm sure none of you guys will mind, but basically the dogs ran off and caught a pig. And all you hear is just like this extreme squealing sound of this dog, which is just this pig, which is just being eaten alive pretty much. But you can see he's basically punching the dogs off the pig. It's a little baby that they found. And then boom, it's just like the dogs go out and catch it, and the boys go in, they grab the pig. I mean, this one was very small, and we got it very early on, which was interesting. And at this point, like I sprinted with my camera, and like my heart rate was just beating out of my chest. And I was like, I've never hunted anything before. I've never caught anything before. I've never experienced this. So it was insane. But if you see this pig is like pretty much gushing, and you can see the dogs, they just don't stop basically attacking it. And it had pretty hectic wounds in the skin, because the dogs are just like absolute savages. But this was an incredibly important experience for me. I've wanted to for so long sort of be closer to, you know, the source of meat, the source of food. And I think this is something that these guys like do regularly. And it's like, you know, these guys are warriors, and that's what I saw. And it was actually one of the most inspiring things I've seen. But they're all young, these dudes. They're all in their 20s, you know, but they know the bush like the back of their hands. It's just epic. So we caught the pig, and then they basically, you know, you can see how gashed it is on the side there, which is pretty hectic. I'll just fast forward a bit. But basically what they do now is like they tie it up with some, like, I don't know, like some stick thread or whatever, tie it up by the feet. And then essentially they don't kill it on the spot. So I was like, okay, are you going to behead it yet? And they were like, no, we just keep it alive until we're ready to cook it, so it stays fresh. Because if it killed it too soon, like, I don't know, like the meat would go weird or something. But yeah, there's the little pig squealing away. And then, yeah, we were off. So we continued sort of hiking up into the bush. And it literally was like we were walking through just like thick bush. The guys were just chopping stuff up. Like I had no idea where we were going. Okay, so this is my favorite fruit in the world. I didn't even know it existed, but this is like where chocolate, like what chocolate is made from. It's a cacao fruit. But it basically tastes like a lollipop, which is insane. So you obviously spit the seeds out, but it's like, it's one of the sweetest things you will ever taste. So next thing, when we arrived at camp, the boys set up a fire. And this is a comment James actually said. He was like, it was so cool to see how everyone just had their own roles. They just knew exactly what part of their team they were on. And if you find this gruesome, look away now, basically. Here's the thing gets beheaded. but yeah, everyone sort of had their roles, and I sort of thought there would be more of a ritual to this, but there wasn't, and it was just, I don't know, it was just as natural as anything, really. The guys just chopped the head off, and next thing you know, that was happening for me. Like I guess it made me feel like, I don't know. I felt a bit weird about it, but actually, because I was surrounded by these guys who just, this is like as normal as going into the fridge and, picking out like I don't know, like a steak and cooking it. Like this is that process for them. These guys didn't even flinch. So I think part of that also rubbed off on me, and it seemed like such a natural process. We were taking from the land, and this pig was going to feed us all pretty much. So basically, after this, the pig, we chopped its head off, and then basically they start the process of burning the hairs of the pig, which was again interesting. But you can just see, so it's like very, very quickly, the pig starts to look less and less like a little cute squealing pig and more like food, which is quite funny. And I don't know where that line is actually crossed. But yeah, we all had a go at sort of rubbing the hair the hair off. The guys made a skewer like on the spot. Everything we used to cook the food was made then and there. So they basically shoved this thing in the back of it. And then I thought you guys would find this quite cool, but basically they take all of the organ meat out of the pig. So the liver, the heart, the brains, everything like that, and they cook that, and they give that to everyone as a bit of a delicacy, like or sort of starter meal, if you will. So yeah, that was the hunting experience, and I would say basically what happened after that, it got pretty dark, and we ended up just sleeping. We ended up going for a nighttime hunt. We didn't catch anything, but we came back. We sat around the fire. We just like literally just chatted like random stuff. There was obviously a language barrier between us and the guys, but you bond over something like this. It's like man-to-man bonding, like goes further than just the English language. And I thought that was really awesome. And then afterwards they sort of made us these beds on leaves. And I was too stupid to bring something warm. I literally wore a vest, which was completely soaking wet by the time we came to sleep. And so I was basically just sleeping on the floor, completely topless the whole night. I don't think I slept at all, but it was like one of those things. You wake up the next morning and you're like, holy crap, like I just had such a insane life experience, and I think that was, the most important thing about it. So yeah, that was the hunting experience. I've now got a cool video of Tom, who created we called it the Uncom song, which I'll play for you guys. I'll see if I can get the audio to go. But first, before I do that, I think, yeah, maybe I'll just have a stop there, see what you guys think so far.
Yeah, man, what an experience. So powerful to do that. Would you want to have that kind of experience, Niels, as a German boy in Hamburg? It's like the opposite of the life that a lot of us have grown up in. I grew up in the city as well.
Yeah, definitely. I grew up in the city. I have only lived in cities, so it's very different. I experienced, I helped once kill a rabbit. That was pretty cool, like getting the skin off and that. Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, I think it's part of the process, especially once you really know how important it is to have this type of food. Then it's good to have the experience to actually know how to prepare it, or to have seen it at least.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty much my experience, man. Like city boy living in London, like all of that, supermarket meat, like supermarket fruit. One of the things that I said a lot to the locals was like, dude, like you would have to go to Whole Foods to get this like quality fruit, and we're just picking it up off the off the trees. And that was just such a cool experience, man, to sort of tap back into that.
I think Luke's internet might have paused there. Liam, have you had any experiences around you got bit more life experience, or at least a few more laps? You're on mute there.
Yeah, I definitely done pig hunting before back in New Zealand, but I thought it was interesting the thought process of like keeping it alive. I was like, oh shit, I don't know about that, right? Like typically in New Zealand, we get the dogs will sort of corner the pigs and grab them by the throat, and then you're in there and you're trying to end it as fast as possible for them. But I suppose that process again is just part of the realization that, you know, it's food, it's for us. It's like, you know, just sort of removing that emotional connection to food, right? Thinking of it as more of a like a living being, and I don't know, it's just a weird thing that they kept it alive, I thought. But I also really like the fact, like you said, Luke, that it's no big thing for them, right? Like I can't imagine what it's like just getting a live animal and just slicing its head off while it's alive.
There's no refrigeration, right? Like, so if you don't want to poison yourself, or if you want to treat the meal with respect, like you have to, it doesn't make sense to kill it and then have it sort of start rotting and then have it be, that's like less respectful to the life, and to not make the most of it in a way, I think is like, it just depends on what lens you look through, and that's the lens that we've been instructed to look through or guided to look through, is like the lens of Peppa Pig. And we've moved further and further away from nature and understanding how to live and how to look after ourselves, and becoming completely dependent on the stores, and it's a whole ideology that goes with it. And it's this rapid rewilding experience when you actually do it yourself or see it done. I harvested a pig and a goat on my own property because I wanted to have that experience as well. Like I was doing carnivore diet for a long time, and having that experience, I was looking at like every one of my ancestors has done this up until my father has only worked with a chicken, but I think every ancestor before him had been through that process all their life, and sort of like it's within 1 or 2 generations it becomes so foreign that we can't do it, or we won't do it, or it allows us to get to this. The weirdness in the world is like this dissociation from what life is, and life requires reproduction, life requires your food and feeding, and so getting so up close to these cycles, I think, is one of the most valuable experiences that you can have if you want to live in less of an illusion or less of a delusional state. That's what it feels like to me, going through all this stuff.
It's amazing though, like I didn't even think of that process. Like, oh my God, why are they keeping it alive? Because they don't have fridges, right? Like you don't even think of that. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, mate, it's nuts, dude. It's like, it was weird. I was like, guys, why aren't you killing it? Put it out of its misery. Everyone just looked at me like, bro, like we don't do that. So I just shut up pretty quickly. And it was just like, you almost trust these guys so much just because it's like they are just in their natural habitat. And it was funny, the next morning when we woke up, like the main guy who leads it, like his name is Michael, the guy who chopped the head off, basically. I just had like this innate respect for him, and he was the only dude who was walking through the bush barefoot. I was like, all right, screw this, I'm going barefoot. And so I was walking barefoot behind him, like, this guy's my role model. And then all of a sudden, like, he walks through this open patch, and then I walk over it, and then I just start walking on these like hard thorns, and I start like basically I have to basically stop. Like, I'm like, guys, I can't move, like it's thorns. Meanwhile, these guys just cruise straight through it. We're like, no effect on their feet whatsoever. And like, you look at these guys' feet, and it's just like, it's like the perfect human foot. but just with like armor plating on the bottom of it, which is hilarious, man. No Vivo barefoots happening over there.
Luke,
Yeah.
one of the come up about snakes in the comments there. Did you ever that's something that always trips me out running through the jungle, that you don't really have to worry about stuff that's going to eat you.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of parts of Australia here, that's a consideration. Crocs, snakes, spiders. Yeah, it's did you think about that at all when you're on the island in general?
Yes. So I was like, guys, like what do I need to look out for here? Like what can kill me? And they were like, nothing, dude. Like there's literally nothing apart from like a wild pig if it like spears you with its like tusk. There's like no poisonous animals, which I found actually quite bizarre. Like I have no idea why that is the case. And so yeah, it was interesting. It's like a wild playground. It's like hard to explain. It's like, yeah, it's pretty nuts. Do you know why that is, Lyndon?
I don't. It's interesting though. Some parts of Vanuatu, like different islands, there is one island that has crocodiles on it, up in the banks,
Right.
but there's nowhere else in the country. So there's believed to be other species of birds as well that exist on other islands that don't exist on the islands further south. So no, I don't have an explanation as to why there's a lack of venomous animals anyway. No,
I
let
mean,
me come
it's
back to you.
pretty awesome. I think other things just sort of worth sharing, like the sort of the weather conditions, you know, where the time I was there, just like the intense rain, which was really awesome experience. Like I'm a big fan of like extreme weather conditions, and you know, we had like the most beautiful sunny days, and then we just had a couple nights where the rain came through, and it was epic, man. It was like rainforest levels. You know, that was cool. Yeah, I think the training as well was just also really nice. Like just having that access to the quality beef. The boys had a bit of a joke going on that I never cooked. But I just said like, and then what I did was I ended up cooking and no one fucking ate my meal. So I just took it as a sign. I was like, I'm not gonna try anymore. But no, it was funny, man. It was a good time. Like had lots of banter with the boys, and you know, like living in that sort of brotherhood container for a month was something I truly cherished. You know, coming from again the city life where we can sort of go weeks or even months being isolated, you know, working completely on our own, you know, as opposed to, yes, online is cool, but like, you know, there's nothing that beats those conversations over dinner, over steak. You know, those were truly stuff I will remember for the rest of my life.
Hey Luke, a question for you with regards to like the beef. Like one thing I've noticed here in Mexico, I've got a grass-fed butcher up the road here, and when I first went in, I was like, "Oh, this meat is like different, right?" Like, you know, I went in and got like a prime rib, and the prime rib was probably one of the worst cuts on the animal itself because it's grass. You know, it's running around doing its wild thing, very muscular, very lean, compared to like different cuts that I would normally say, well, that's not a great cut. But like now I'm buying like, you know, the back, or no, I don't even know the names of the cuts, but like, you know, cuts that typically in New Zealand are, you know, like stewing meat, but they're the most delicious meats here. And the ones that I would consider to be the high quality cuts in New Zealand are just not fantastic here.
Yeah. So Lyndon can probably answer this question, like where they get it. But we basically Tommy would come back from Santo with like this free range box of like Santo beef, and it was just like the loin, the strip loin or the ribeye, I don't know, but it was like the whole thing, and we would just slap that on a chopping board, cut a few pieces off it every night, like a few kilos, and it was great, like good fat content. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, so I know what you mean though. Like I think here in Bali, like if you have like the local beef, like it's not great. Like it's best to sort of order it from Australia. but I don't know why that is. Like they have like these small little cows here in Bali, and like apparently they're not like tasty. I don't know.
Yeah, we mostly, Liam, we mostly just live off Scotch fillets or sirloin steak. They seem to be two of the nicer cuts there. You get a nice thick piece of fat on those. And for Tex, that's all grass-fed finished. There is no grain in Vanuatu, so it's impossible to have grain-fed cattle. So it's all grass-fed, grass-finished. We pay around $15 Australian a kilogram for organic grass-fed and grass-finished sirloin steaks, and the Scotch fillets are around, I think, paying around $17.50 a kilo. So I mean that's 1/3 of the price of what I pay here on the Sunshine Coast. So it's it's quality meat for much less than other Western countries.
Awesome, guys. Chris, you gonna go? Your audio, bro. Your audio is a bit screwed up.
Yeah, it came in real weird. No, we can't.
Maybe.
Might have to just go onto your device audio. Just turn off the headphones. No, just try directly off your device. It's sort of like the sensitivity's 50 times higher than would be appropriate. Do you want to finish off what you had planned there, Luke?
Yeah, let's do that.
Song from Tommy and.
All right. I hope this shares the audio as well, but let's see. It might not. Some screens let you share audio. Look for the share audio checkbox next to the window. Share tab audio, great. Oh.
Yeah, I have to add it. It's like another window that pops up.
I don't know if I can. Can you do it? Can you help?
Yeah, it's added there.
Okay. All right. So basically, Tommy wrote a song called "The Uncommon Man" or something along those lines. I wish he was on this call right now, but let's see if you guys can hear it. Go. Weak men make hard times, strong men make good times, and the pioneer of men makes a time that you never see. Weak men make hard times. What? Great. Weak. Oh, tell you what. Fight more. Okay, next take. So just so you guys know what he's saying strong men make good times, weak men make hard times, but the pioneer of man makes the times that we've never seen, which I thought was quite cool. The pioneer of man makes a time that you never see. Weak men make hard times, strong men make good times, and the pioneer of man makes a time that you never see. And the pioneer of man makes a time that you never see. Weak men make hard times, strong men make good times, and the pioneer of man makes a time that you never see. And the pioneer of man makes a time that you never see. Awesome. Okay, and then I also got a couple of Linden.
This is a stitch up, Luke.
Common villages are where you go. Common success is what you know. Changing your
Audio's a bit quiet, but it's fine.
is the first step. If you never do this, dreams you can't forget. See, spending time around other people who want the best for you. That is the main reason that we're all here as true. A common success is what you know. A common villages are where to go to make the change that you know will lead you where you need to go. Getting richer and smarter is what we aim to be. To becoming the best person that you could ever be. And instead of trying to make it, man, go on your own. Get out to a village and let the good times unfold. 'Cause uncommon
Nice.
success is what you
I don't know how loud you can hear that, but we had a nice jamming session on the last day. But yeah, I'm gonna probably edit that up into a nice video for everyone. But I had the vision that last shot of Tommy sitting on the edge of the water will be the end credits, basically. So yeah, there you go, guys. Uncommon success is what
Awesome.
you know. It's like stuck in my head now, Lyndon. But yeah,
Yes,
good
good
times,
times.
man. Yep.
Did you want to have another go, Chris, or you only can speak through the headset?
Can you guys
Yeah,
hear me?
it's good
Yes.
now.
Oh, it's all good now. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, I was just, I guess, from my perspective, obviously, I joined Uncom like 6 weeks ago, and it's amazing to see Luke kind of further down the journey of being able to go around and explore the villages. And I guess my question is for people in my position, what is the journey and the route to get to the point where you can do what Luke is doing?
Who wants to answer that?
Make $1,000 a month in your online business, and you can come live in Vanuatu as long as you want, brother.
Okay. Yeah, obviously that's a difficult question because there's obviously lots of avenues and lots of ways to do it. I suppose specifically if there's like opportunities to build in another community, because obviously you're not just paying your way to be able to stay in that current community, you're also giving yourself the skills in the future for when you want to build your own village, which I think is really it's like two birds, one stone type thing there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's been a number of people come out to Vanuatu. Obviously, I think Casper's gone off the call, but yeah, same in Montenegro. Andreas is someone that comes to mind that, found a real passion for the build and creative side of stuff when he was in Montenegro. He's on his way to Vanuatu in the next week or so. So it'll be cool to see where he takes that in Vanuatu. So yeah, absolutely. There's opportunity to come out and, have a look around, have a look at the village, participate. There's opportunity to come out and dive and do some construction, earn some skin in the game there as well. So I'm happy to have that conversation with you separately to here and give you the details on all those options, and then you can take it from there.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I think for me personally, I'm envisioning like 6 to 9 months from now. I think that's when I'm gonna leave the English nest and try and go to the different Uncom villages. That's what I'm planning. So yeah, really good, really exciting.
That's awesome, bro. I don't think it's far away for you, man. It was I honestly very similar position, like not even over a year ago, bro. Like I was sort of, in that sort of position, and a lot can happen in a year. So, we had a chat earlier about your stuff, and you signed up to the course and stuff, which is awesome. And I like your ideas. You got cool stuff going. So once you get that up and running, bro, you're going to be free to move.
Yeah, that's the plan. Just gotta keep going away.
Yeah, generally the answer to this, someone listening in or watching back, is if you want to go to the village, you can go to the village. Like go to Montenegro or Vanuatu. at the moment you've got a few days stay, built into your subscription with Uncomms. As being a pro player, gives you access to that. Casper's there. Casper's getting paid a little bit to work with us there. He's sort of interning with us online, and he helps out there with the work on site. And so he's making a little bit of money. He's covering his expenses and getting the experience of a lifetime. At 21, he was studying physiotherapy, and he decided not to study physiotherapy for now and to get this experience. He's also building his own sort of brand and vision and product at the same time while he's there. So, that's an example. That deal is there for Montenegro at the moment, that if someone wants to contribute 20 hours a week to the site, then you can stay. You got accommodation, food, and I don't know if that deal, it probably won't be in play 9 months from now, but maybe it will. There's a lot more that we can do there. It's a big location. It's a couple of, I think it's 3 hectares. So there's a lot more to build. But for Andreas and Brad and the guys who've stayed there so far, Fighty and like had extended stays, they wanted to get that experience of building and being there when it's really rough and raw. It's nothing like the Bali experience that Luke's about to go through, where it's like 5-star pristine. I'm not sure if Montenegro will ever be like that. Maybe it will a few years from now, but it doesn't really matter. Like, it's, to me, the physical locations are secondary to the to the philosophy and to the ideal of what we're building and the kind of people that we're becoming through this process. Like, that's the most important thing. And so that's pretty much the deal at the moment. I would say the same kind of opportunities will be there in Vanuatu. If you want to contribute, you want to build something, you want to work on the farm, the cost of living will be extremely low or nil. If you just want to be there and work, like Luke just exchanged, doing video stuff for us to be able to stay there in Vanuatu, and he didn't have to, he wasn't doing any work on the building site or anything like that. He can make his own money with what he's doing. So, that's pretty much where we're at with that. We do, it is important to have people in the villages. I would like to have 3 or 4 guys living in Vanuatu and 3 or 4 guys living in Montenegro. We do have that possibility now. I guess it's mostly around guys taking the leap into the unknown and going to countries that they haven't been to before, and also having some degree of online income, which is what we're working on. We're all working on helping everybody else to get to that point where you know how to sell, where you have a product, and it's very, very doable for any man to be free now. Like, that's what I wanted when I was 23. It was like, how do I stay out of the meat grinder of this system that has been created around us? How do I live a different life? And now it's possible. I was able to save 10 grand as a pool lifeguard and whatnot 20 years ago to be able to get out of the system. So, anyone can do it now. You go work at McDonald's for 6 months and then you can go and take a year or 2 or 5 of freedom and see if you can build your own business at the same time. That's what I would encourage any thinking man to do who feels a little bit stuck. Just get work doing whatever in a Western country. Save money hard, live in your car if you need to, or find somewhere to live cheap, and then get out of there, get into an environment where you're actually going to be encouraged to grow and get your business going. Luke and I spent dozens of hours together getting his stuff off the ground and going through all kinds of mental blocks and little challenges and changing the business model. But having the time together in Montenegro, lots of phone calls, and then Luke's probably done that same thing with 5 other guys that he's had a lot of time with, but over the course of a year now he's able to live this lifestyle, and it is an opportunity for all of us. So, like, that was what the goal was to create, and we are creating it. And seeing more people step into it is going to be the fun of it. Definitely more fun if there's 2, 3, 4 men in the villages versus 1. Casper's doing the hard yards at the moment, being the only guy there in Montenegro, but I'm going to be there in a week, and then I'm sure there's going to be a lot more visitors over the summer. So he's going to have some good times in the near future. I was just going to throw to Manish. I don't know if you're. Did he just drop out? Yeah, his device dropped out. Manish is working hard on. Manish is working hard on a vision for India, in the north of India. He has family land there that he's very proud of, and he's developing, which is really exciting. He's just been organizing his chickens and eggs, honey. He started with the agriculture aspect of the project to be able to add value to the local community, producing high quality ghee as well. And he's putting together his plans for the construction there to actually like build the gym and the dwellings. But even just this process that he's been through to get to this point, I've seen a huge transition in Manish. Like the fact that he's taken on the project, he's mapped it out, he's spoken to family and friends about it. There's so much value in having the vision and pursuing your own vision that the thing actually happening is almost secondary to the journey of you becoming the kind of person who could build a village. Like everyone should be mapping out their own village. I know Liam started with his. I think we'll have one in South Africa in the next 12 months, Luke. Like in chatting a bit with Daniel, and there's 2 or 3 other guys come in from South Africa recently. Once there's a tipping point with this thing where it's big enough that it makes more sense to more people, and then you connect. Like Airbnb with eight properties doesn't work. Uber with 10 cars doesn't work. But once there's 100, it's like, oh, that's interesting. If there's 100 places like this around the world, like probably need to be part of that. You know, who would I need to become to be part of that? What leaderboards do I need to be on? What work do I need to do on myself? Like these are the questions that are going to be answered by. At some point, there's going to be a critical mass with this where it clicks with more people of like, this is what needs to happen, and the philosophy can't be stopped, can't be defeated. Like it's an idea. Ideas can't be killed. Manish, what's your vision there? Where are you up to with the India process? I was talking a little bit about you getting your chickens. Tell us a little bit about where you're up to.
Yeah, so this month I'm getting chickens directly from university. So there's no chance of mixing the breeds, like getting some impure breed. So I'm getting these black chickens. They have black eggs and black meat, and the taste is more on the side of a game, or like more on the side of a deer. So whenever you have that, you'll not feel that you're having a chicken. It's more of a dark or kind of red meat, sort of. So, and on the last call, I also said that I want to start, like in terms of revenue, I want to have something coming in from the village. So this month I sold around, $150 worth of ghee. I sourced it from the local people and just sold it to like few of my clients in the city. And now I'm building a website around that, and also testing the ghee in the laboratory in labs. So this month will be up and running in terms of like scaling up of our ghee, and we'll have like my target for this month is like that I want $500 coming in terms of revenue. So before we get like anything going in terms of village construction in India, I wanted to have like something coming in terms of money, and then I can like, I didn't even talk to anyone about investing opportunities. So yeah, this month I want to like scale up in terms of the company. So Uncom India Village to have like revenue coming in before we even start construction. So that is my goal. Like we already are on the way, but in June we'll be like scaling up a little bit. And then I'm also looking to add some goats. I've already booked around 10 goats. I've already booked around 10 chickens. I've already booked around 4 or 5 cows. So yeah, all of them will be coming to the village in like next 2-3 months. So yes, everything is looking good. Next is like the construction phase. So monsoon will hit soon. for the next 2 or 3 months, we cannot really start constructing anything in India. So from September, we are looking to start something in terms of construction. And I've been talking to few of the construction companies here, and the cost has been calculated, and I've told like Lyndon and Keegan, maybe, yeah, Keegan, I've told you that it's somewhere around like $200,000. But the plan is to like raise that money before the end of the year so we can have that up and running. And it will be like more of a 5-star facility type of thing with just that kind of money. So I hope you guys heard me.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe share a little bit about like the personal journey and setting things up to this point. Like that's amazing that you start to make $500 a month in India from agriculture is good money as well. Like that's, from my understanding, you were making about $1,000 a month in your business as a personal trainer, working with doctors and lawyers, before starting. So
Yeah.
that itself is a huge win, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like before Uncom, I was a totally different person, and now I'm this like high achieving man that I've became in just in 3 months. And all credit to Uncom and my girlfriend. So I don't know. It's like all the calls are made, all the guys, all the faces here, all the positivity. There's something about this community that has made me a different person. And to be honest, to be very honest, May has been like my worst month in terms of like income. I've been sick all month, barely made it to calls, couldn't really work out for like 20-25 days, like first 20 days. So, but in terms of like my growth, I totally feel like a different person. I'm talking to you, I'm talking to all of you confidently. That's been a big change after joining Uncom. So I'm really glad I made that call to Keegan in somewhere around February, and now it's like my life has been turned around like 360. I'm launching a program with Liam. I'm working on the village. I'm working out. I'm growing as a person. It's like I can't really put into words sometimes how am I growing in terms of uh, professional life and my personal life.
Yes, it's credit to you, Manish, and that's why we built this thing. I think we've all had these journeys in some ways. Appreciate you sharing it. I think your journey has been more enriching and deeper than a lot of the guys who joined at the same time, especially on the $97 plan, because you had this vision of the village from the start. And I, when you said about land, I was like, yeah, let's pursue that. And I think that is a thread that we should pull on with as many players as possible. Is like, well, what if you could? I know it seems so crazy to most people to consider that I could possibly, how could I ever possibly create a location like this? But I think the fact that you've seen that for yourself and you've been working towards that each month, it gave you a lot more meaning. Like I said to you, the only way we're going to take this village vision seriously is if you can get a handstand, because if you can't turn up consistently enough to get a handstand, then you obviously don't want the respect of this community. You obviously can't be consistent and discipline yourself. And I've given Liam the same challenge. Liam's come on, he's doing great things, and I think he's about to have a big breakthrough with his sales business. But I said to Liam, look, I'm not, you need to have that transformation that you want to have around your body composition. And, Liam came with the goal, but I gave it another level of seriousness of like, you will have another level of credibility and support when you achieve what you say you want to achieve here. And so having this physical layer of trust where you can trust a man who can train himself consistently and who can develop extreme skills. Like when you're there in Vanuatu and Lyndon turns himself into a jukebox and plays 1,000 different songs in 10 minutes, like that tells you something about the character of Lyndon, like to be able to play so many songs like that. And I know he has that ability in lots of different areas. So the athletic richer smarter thing, it's not superficial. It's not just like, oh, it's cool, he can play guitar. It's who you are as a person. Like if you don't have a bunch of things that you're good at, then there's something wrong with the environment that you've been in. You weren't encouraged to get really good at a bunch of things, and that's okay. But let's fix that. Let's add to that, and we should all continue to have these things. Like it's good if Lennon can only do the same things he can do now 5 years from now, then that's a shame. But I think in the villages, it's almost impossible that it's going to be like that, because someone else is going to come with a different musical instrument or a different style of thing, or the chess is starting to heat up a bit within the network, and Chris is bringing Japanese. We're getting these other aspects around languages, around sales skills, and the community is going to continue to become richer in terms of that environment. But Manish, I think, took it all on more deeply because he was like, okay, I definitely need this trust so that I can build a village. And I think Liam probably did it because it's like for the marketplace. I'm like, there's no way you're going to be in the marketplace if we can't trust you. The way we're going to trust you is if you can do what you say you're going to do. If you want to have a better body composition, then execute on that. It's not me telling you, hey, Liam, you're fat, fix it. It's you saying, I want to have this. I want to have this image. And so, yeah, that's the challenge for new players coming in. Hopefully you guys listening back to recording, it's like, what can you attach to this where it does have more significance to you? Like you really embody this thing and take it on as a way of life rather than just, it's not, as much, it is a game, but it's like, it's a game of life. It's the significance that you attach to it is going to determine how well you play. And, Luke came and did the dense squats with me and he just got himself on the 160, 10D1. And it's just easier to trust. The speed of trust is much faster, and speed of trust is a key for business these days. The more all these deep fakes and AI and everything, like the faster we can create trust and the deeper the trust can go. Manish has turned up on a bunch of calls. He's had, his call count is going up within the app. His OnCom 25 is going up. These are all trust builders. Ultimately, they're going to mean that you get to feature on the marketplace and that you get support for your village. If you decide, okay, we're crowdfunding, I need $5,000 for phase one of getting my goats set up. If you look at the profile of a player and you go, okay, what does this guy, is he part of this? Is he one of us? You know what I mean? Like that's the opportunity that we have. And I think it's something really powerful and unique that doesn't exist anywhere else in terms of getting seed funding and support of other men. And it's probably the most important thing. If you have 50 other guys that vouch for you, like that's why everyone does Trustpilot and Amazon 5-star reviews and all that sort of stuff. Like we will get to a point where our technology gives that sort of vouching system where you go, well, yeah, this guy's good. I'm going to buy from the Uncommon Success Marketplace always because I know that these guys are genuine and they work hard and these are their values. So this is where I see it going with the villages, where I see it going with the marketplace, but it takes time and it takes actually, doing the system and being better at the thing. So that then there's no doubt at that point, like the strength of the CrossFit community, there's no doubt of they can do muscle ups and they're jacked and they're doing their thing. Like we need to have that same proof in abilities. I don't know if you want to share a little bit around that, Manish, because I think it would be a huge assistance to anyone joining the game is like, understand that it's not something superficial. It's not something optional. Like you need to have this band of men and support behind you. And this is how you can get it.
Yeah. Just the other day, I was thinking that what is aging and what is like deterioration of modern society. So it's just I just came to the conclusion it's just running behind the same thing over and over again. And this thing, Uncom, what we are doing differently is we're not running behind the same thing. We are growing in all aspects of life. We are just not like a one-trick pony. We're just not jacked. We are jacked. We are smart. We are richer. We can do hunting. We can do cooking. We can do farming. So Uncom, I will say, is the perfect growth material for man. in terms of battling with aging, battling with the deterioration of brain and something. I've been studying a lot about deterioration of brain, about Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative diseases. And what the conclusion is, whenever you whenever you don't let your brain work beyond a certain point, or you're not doing any new things, or you're not uh, forcing it to grow, and you're just stuck in a routine doing the same thing over and over again, the thing that you don't even want to do, then you will face some issues. And I can see these things in children. I can see these things in women. I can see these things in my clients, and I've made them improve a lot of things out of these things. And credit to Uncom for that, because really, this model made me uh, think beyond a certain point, beyond just aesthetics, beyond athletic performance. It just made me think in terms of how how can I make this person's brain better? How can I make his life better? How can he sleep better? How can he uh, improve his work? How can he get out of this matrix, so-called matrix that he is stuck in? So, and I've been like making strides in terms of growth, and now it's my business is also growing because of this, because I'm offering something that no other personal trainer anywhere is offering. So I mean, I don't know where I went with this, but Uncom is like the perfect solution for any.
Just on the punchline, left us hanging. He'll be like,
Keegan, can I jump in?
Yeah.
I think there's two things coming up for me when you were talking about like me being, like stepping up and being challenged. And I'm pretty sure most people know in this group, like I come from a network marketing background, and network marketing is awesome, love it, all that sort of stuff, very self-development driven. And self-development's a funny place to come from, right? Because the word says it all. It's self. You're by yourself. It doesn't matter how many books you read or how invested into self-development you are. If you're not actually doing something thereafter, it never transfers. It never goes anywhere. And I really appreciate Keegan saying to me, right, like, you got to do more. And it actually made me think more about myself. Like, it's easy to tell everyone, yeah, I'm going all in over here by myself, but you've got no accountability. Saying, all right, what are we up to, dude? It's just you, and you're just sitting there going, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm nailing life. But the fact is, I was just running on the spot, and just having like everybody in this group just saying like, oh, what are you doing? Let's do something. Let's do more. Right? Actually, has really brought my game up. And now that I look at it, it's not a huge thing, but having the support of this group just elevates you so much. And you know, it's only starting because I've got so many other areas that I have to work on. But yeah, like Manish was saying, like I just think that so many of us go through life with, I'm doing okay, I'm doing all right over here. But the thing is, we are so much potential to do more. And all right's good, but where is all right going to get you really?
Yeah, it's a great share. That idea of self-development and best self and all that stuff, like it really doesn't exist. Like it's only best team, best league, all the ultra rich, every big corporation. I was just talking to a guy yesterday about like, oh, I just think I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. It's like, yeah, but you're never going to do it on your own. Like, imagine that there is no super successful person who doesn't have a team of people around him. Like, there is always a team, and anyone you see crushing it on social media or in any facet of life, there's always a group of people around them who they trust and they can confide in, and they've had it all their lives generally. And then the common man just doesn't have that, and he doesn't realize he doesn't have that. and so he doesn't know what he's missing out on, and therefore he's never going to get it. But I like Lyndon's seen this with me. Like we've been connected the last nearly 10 years now, and I go in and out of my best. I'm better when there's events coming up, when I'm having calls like this, and putting honestly, the Uncom calls has been the biggest stabilizer for my mental health and my productivity of anything that I've ever done. Like I've been doing 100 calls a month, or 50 to 100 calls a month every month for the last year and a bit, and you just can't go far off track. Like some days you're just not that good, but then you get on calls and then it's like, well, this guy's got that going on, he's got this, and it just straightens you out. Like it's literally it's how we're wired. The studies are all there. We know that social isolation is the biggest risk factor, for death, is to be socially isolated. But this abandoning this concept of self-development is a great idea, and making it into a concept of collective development, or not in a communist kind of way, because everyone's pursuing their own thing and everyone's got the right to choose, whatever you're going to be great at athletically. Whatever you choose, what you're going to be great at athletically, smarter, richer, like the kind of business that you want to have, the style. Do you want to go one to many? Do you want to go higher ticket? Like you decide, but do something, and we're here to support you as you do that. And Luke's tried a bunch of different businesses over the last 12 months. Like everyone has this experimentation of what's actually going to work, and going with that mental health thing and brain development, Manish. The more you're forcing yourself in this environment to express your ideas, like that's one of the progressions I want to make of the Connect calls. Is like let's do Instagram lives, let's do podcasts instead of the Connect calls, and then you're challenged to express your ideas the best way that you can, and so that's a great way to develop your brain as well. Is like, okay, are you listening? What are you going to say next? Can you get it out? Are your ideas organized? Like, what do you really value? What topics can you discuss? In what languages can you discuss them? Like, if we're consistently asking ourselves those questions and expressing what we value, it's going to get better. Hormozi posted recently, why am I good at communicating? Well, he was doing 90 minutes a day, every day of calls like this for years within Gym Launch. And before that, he was working in gyms and he was doing the sales and he was doing the classes. And so you want to practice a lot of communication if you want to be great at communication. And it's one of the best, like it's great for mental health from a social aspect, and then you're also organizing your ideas. Jordan Peterson says you need to write essays, but a podcast is an essay, a reel, a tweet. They're all essays. We need to publish our ideas, and publishing them in a social way has multiple benefits. Obviously, then you can grow your social media as well, and you can make sales, and you can prove that you're connected to other men around the world. And if you're constantly on your social media connected to obviously high achieving, well-spoken, athletic people all around the world, like, does your status go up to your audience? Of course it does. And do people buy from people they trust? Of course they do. Like, it's an obvious business thing, as well as, and that's what we're creating here, like this ultimate benefit on top of benefit on top of benefit. And the Bali Time Chamber is the best example of this now, with like a physical location that also supports that, and the other locations are coming online to do the same. So Manish, you dropped there when you were about to deliver your punchline, and I now have spoken for so long. I don't know if you still remember what you were going to finish with there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that Uncom is the need for every man to survive and develop in modern world.
I missed
Something
one of the words. My speakers are broken on this computer. It's like something happened to it.
I'll just repeat it. It's like the Uncom is the perfect solution for every man in the modern world.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what we're working towards. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's good and getting better. And I don't know why technology isn't being used in this way. Imagine if Facebook was trying to solve the problem that Uncom is trying to solve. We've got 2 developers, and we're trying to we are building a system where men can transform their lives. Like, you've just told your story, Liam's telling his story, Luke's traveling the world doing this thing. Like, is this not one of the best uses for this technological age that we have? Like, would it not be better if everybody had this thing on their phone and they were constantly associating with other men who were high achieving? Like, this is kind of what Buckminster Fuller thought the internet would be used for. Buckminster Fuller was a genius inventor, came up with all sorts of interesting designs, and it's part of when they still had the World Trade, and it's phenomenal history of inventing. And I think we actually had a lot brighter times 100 years ago. I think men were aspiring to other things, compared to the average man now. But he predicted that by this time, people would be mostly not need to work because we would solve the issue of how to get food to everyone and clothes. And so there would be no need to put so much time into chopping wood and carrying water. And so he predicted that we would spend our days contributing to an information hive mind that makes life on Earth better and better. And that's what TikTok and Facebook and all those things could be. It could be literally like, I wonder what developments have been made for mankind today. And in a way, it kind of is for me, because I only tune into stuff that is super positive and challenges me to be better. But I know for a lot of people, it's not that. What if that did exist? What if there was a place where you could tune in where all you ever saw was people leveling up, sharing essays, sharing ideas, proving themselves better athletically, refining their concepts and sharing them in video and voice. And then there were physical locations where you would go and be around other people who are spending their days doing that. Like, it seems as though the ancient Greeks might have been living like that, where they kind of had food covered. And so they spent their day training and then challenging each other with ideas and participating in schools. Like, it seems as though that's what they might have done. And it seems as like that's what made sense to me at 23, looking at the world, thinking we can do better than this. How do we create an environment where you just get to focus on improving and improving each other, improving life. Here we are. We now got these villages. We got this opportunity.
Yeah. I agree with everything, but it's also like great to be pioneers of something. Like, we are starting something revolutionary. And at the same time, all of things that you mentioned, it's really great that, it would have been great if Facebook and TikTok or any other social media platform would be like that, just like Uncom or whatever we are doing. But all of these things are not average, and average people don't do these things. They are just too focused on getting that free dopamine hit, or something that can distract them. And for the things that we are doing, it requires a lot of creativity and some sort of thinking to do. And 99% of the people are not comfortable doing these things. So it's great that we are doing it, and it's in our hands that we can change the world, and we are potentially doing it. Lyndon is already doing in Vanuatu. Nico is doing in Bali. You are doing all over the world, and I can see everyone with the potential to change the world from wherever they are. So that's really like, it just makes me so happy and proud to be in this group that's changing basically the trajectory of how mankind will go in the future.
Can I say something about what you said, Manish, when you were talking about like Uncom people, we're like pushing the way, or we're revolutionaries, and the people who are common, maybe they're just looking out for the short-term quick pleasure. I would say that the difference between an Uncom person who's able to be a revolutionary and a common person who is just looking out for the quick pleasure is less than you think. I think it's about the right experience, the right meeting at the right time. I think anyone most people have it within them to have that kind of revolutionary mind. And this month I've kind of been almost like regressing, going backwards to go forwards, thinking about like my limiting beliefs, the things that stop me in my own head from being an uncommon person. I've really had to like challenge them this month and actually look at the things that Keegan says when he says 1 million. Was it 1 million a month? When he says that, initially I'm just thinking like, 1 million in my life would be great, and not 1 million a month. So it's like my core beliefs and self-limiting beliefs about what I can achieve and where I can go, they're the things that are challenged. I've had to challenge to, be a revolutionary mind. And I think as long as anyone else can do that, which they can with the right coaching, then they can also become more uncommon.
Yeah, I agree with you. Everyone has the potential, but it's a little bit like you have to do a little bit of thinking and self-monitoring for that to get like on this path. Like I did it with myself and I'm still doing it with myself. So it's just a process that I'm like just started walking because of Keegan and because of this community. So that's why I said like it's a difficult path for a lot of people. But yeah, everyone, I do agree that everyone has the potential, but at the same time, it requires you to get out of your comfort zone. Or your
Yeah.
shell. Yeah, or your shell that you build up for yourself, your excuses. Yeah, your excuses will be your shell, like can be your shell right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also to do with, the limiting beliefs behind all aspects of it. The fact that you can be maybe already uncommon, say athletically, you can already, you're already in good shape, but maybe you don't know how to budget and you have no idea about living in nature. I think that the fact that it's, this all encompassing thing, and as a man, I think it's, what's the old phrase, as a man, you should be able to change a diaper, build a house, and, all of these things. There's a great expectation put on men from society, and it can be overwhelming unless you have, as you say, community behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy to, what I've learned, it's not easy to change your subconscious mind. We build our subconscious like whatever we observe when we are young or through genetics. I don't know how it works, but it's very difficult to change your subconscious mind. And most of the people are not wired right. Like most of the men are not wired right. They are fed through an agenda. They are fed through lies and things like that. So it's really difficult to get out of that zone and grow.
I had a meeting with Daniel DePaul this morning. We did some story work, and that was really quite eye-opening. I think one of the ways that you can rewire your subconscious mind is you delve into your, into your past memories and the stories that you tell yourself. And when you actually say it out loud and you learn to accept the things that are in your own mind, it's quite shocking at first, but then liberating. You feel like you beat yourself up because you're trying to run and you just can't run, and then you realize that you're holding a heavy weight the whole time, and that's why you couldn't run, if that makes sense. So yeah, lots of inner work this month. I don't know how everyone else's May went, but yeah, that was my May.
Yep, my May was totally on the other side. Yeah, I was mostly sick, just did juggling, a little bit of workout. Actually got my best like military press this month, but I like wanted to do a lot. So let's go for June. Let's launch it with Neon and focus on the village. And I'm
Yeah,
like excited to things.
I think our best month is about to happen. I'm very sure that the best month in Uncom so far is about to happen. It's generally been that way for most months, but I'm very confident that June's going to be a huge one. Lyndon started all this village shenanigans, this whole important thing that we're doing now. It started with Lyndon saying, "Hey, do you want to buy a block on the beach in Vanuatu with me?" And we were looking at one specific area, which is not even where we've ended up building, but started with that conversation. So Lyndon began this village's process, and Vanuatu is the original uncommon village, and I think it's still the one that has the most potential to really be, build our own city, build our own country in a way, our own colony, whichever words you want to put on it. But maybe Lyndon can kind of finish up the conversation for us around the significance of the villages for your life, your family, your family lineage, and contribution to the greater good.
For sure. Well, the most important thing to note is, like you say, not even 12 months ago, this was just thought into existence. So limiting beliefs aside, if you told me an 18-year-old graduating high school, going into a building career, thinking I was a lifetime builder because that's what my father did, whether I'd be doing what I'm doing now, my limiting beliefs wouldn't have allowed to entertain such a thing. So, thinking things into existence definitely wouldn't happen without the network. But it's also a good example that we're capable of a lot more in a lot less time than what we think we are. To reflect on some of the stuff that's actually happened in the last, July was my first trip on the ground. September was when we really first started doing anything. So it's been 9 months. End of July will be 12 months since I first got back to Vanuatu. So a lot's happened in that 12 months from a private standpoint, but also as Keegan tagged, we're working on the things that you may not see results of in the immediate form right now, but we're looking at these things through a 20, 30-year lens. There's decisions being made now that will affect our children and other people's children that are attached to these villages. So while on the surface you'll see bungalows, you'll see things being built, know that due to the collective nature of Uncom, that there's more than meets the eye with the village. There's more than meets the eye that is underway in Vanuatu. I think, summarizing why the village will work, after having the head of state, the president of the country, come down and tour what we're doing, his comments were, well, when you finish building this uncommon village, would it be okay if you came to my island and built me one there? So I don't know how many other heads of government, heads of state around the world would take that approach. Understand what we're doing, understand the importance, see what we're doing for the people, see what we're doing for the economy, and support to that level. So thanks everyone for your support today. It's not easy. I made big sacrifices, sure. That's what's required. Being away from my family, saying no to other opportunities, but I feel a duty to do this, because if we don't, then who's going to? Who's going to set this up for the generations to come if it's not us? So thanks for your support. If anyone that's listening back wants more information about Vanuatu specifically, please drop me a message or book a call through the app. I'll speak all day about Vanuatu if you let me. But yes, thanks for hosting, Luke. Really appreciate you coming out, the time and energy you put into capturing. I'm really excited to see what you make of that 14 hours of footage for us. But we're capable of more than we think we are, and we can go further as a collective. Definitely, I've still got to remind myself of that as well. So you're not alone. I still think I'm not doing enough in what we're doing with the villages. I still am that question of, I don't think we have enough. I don't think we have as much time. I operate off the assumption that we don't have as much time as we think we have, and maybe that's not a good place to come from, but it's working. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's a deeper philosophical question of, are we meant to do stuff, or are we meant to sit and be content? And our ancestors did stuff, and I feel better when I do stuff. But if we're going to do stuff, then we may as well do the best stuff that we can imagine. That's the thing that I'm challenging men to consider, that you can do something much bigger. Don't count it out just because you don't think you're smart enough, or you don't think you have enough resources around you, or you don't think you have a big enough network. Like, take all that off the table. What would you do? What would you do with your life? What would you create? Luke wants to make Netflix-style documentaries. He's been saying that for a year. Now he's about to be in Bali Time Chamber for a month of, with phenomenal men, athletic ability, and who are all on this journey. Half of them are in Uncommon Success. So he's literally within 12 months building something that it could be the best documentary on Netflix. They probably wouldn't have it because it doesn't necessarily go with their agenda. But if you build it, then you never know what's going to happen with it. And that's a documentary that can change the world. Like it literally, things go viral these days. And that's the challenge that we set for Luke. Put your heart and soul into this and let's see what happens. I know Nico has a lot of hope and expectations for the content that comes out of this event. And yeah, it's just nothing's far away these days. Like there's 1 degree of separation, 2 degrees of separation to anyone these days. And so all we have to do is create something good and prove it with the numbers, prove it with the metrics. Like that's what I'm all about. That's what the app is all about. If we can prove that men are showing up, that they are leveling up, that their physical abilities improve, that their ability to generate income improves. And then we have the proof of the villages, like in this time of lots of scammy stuff and lots of gimmicky things, like try building a village as a gimmick, try faking a village, try faking an app and faking data from hundreds of men around the world, getting after it every day. It can't be done. And so, yeah, we got to keep doing it better. And the fun is in doing it better. Like it's a balance between achievement and frustration. You should feel frustrated. I think you said it, Lyndon. You feel frustrated a third of the time, like things are going pretty well a third of the time, and like you've nailed everything a third of the time, and everything's easy. Like there should be times where you're like, this is amazing, everything's going well, but it's also okay to have the time of frustration, and that's what drives us forward. That's why you end up with these beautiful castles and things, is because people decide, well, I want to live in the most beautiful thing I can imagine. And I've got the resources to do it, so let's build it. And that's what Bali Time Chamber is, and that's what we can all do. So that's what we should all do. If every man decided to do this, everything would be solved, and it would displace alcohol and all these other drugs. I see men here at the shop in the middle of the day, off their heads. They just don't have a village to build. They don't have a project. If you can put them to work, they would change. And like what Chris was saying, like it's just the environment. It's the environment. Like for the vast majority of men, it's simply the environment. You put a man in a good environment, he will become a good man. You want to share something there, Manish? We're finishing out.
Yes, like just let's hope for the best in June. It's balance of frustration and gratitude and happiness, and let's build in June. Non-com is the way to go.
All in. Let's go. Achievement and fulfillment running together. That's the game. Keep building both.
Luke,
Thanks,
I'm sorry. Luke, just quickly before you ring off, I just looked and call it synchronicity, call it what you like. It was 12 months ago exactly today that we had the conversation where you said, I'd like to get out to the village to see what it's about before I decide what I'll do. So there you go.
Yeah, that's
Careful what you wish for.
serendipity. Yeah, we wish for it, man. That's insane.
Amazing. Big changes in 12 months. Let's do this again. 30th of May, 2024. See where we're at. It's going to be a long way from where we are now. I can guarantee that.
Let's go.
Game on.
Let's go.